The Jacksonville Jaguars, they came out and released their unofficial depth chart, and Travis Hunter appeared on that depth chart, and he is the starting wide receiver and a backup defensive back. Does it make sense? We're going to talk about it. And then the QB curse continues in Cleveland with them now signing another quarterback, making it six total quarterbacks that the Cleveland Browns have on their squad. Y'all know we gonna talk about it, break it all down, but you gotta hear the music first.
Welcome to your number one spot for all NFL news and content, NFL Central.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back into another episode of NFL Central, your number one spot for everything NFL. I'm your host here, Bobby, and y'all already know if you're locked in and tuned in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's talk about my man Travis Hunter, named the starting wide receiver and a backup defensive back. Hey, it's one of those things to where I'm really on the side of why wouldn't he start at defensive back first? Simply because I think that he's better suited as a defensive back more so than a wide receiver. But hey, head coach Liam Cohen believes that's the way that they should go down there in Jacksonville. So hey, that's what we pretty much gonna roll with and see what happens with it, man. I think that is very, very interesting to say the least. And I'm very, very intrigued to see if Travis Hunter could come out here and simply play both sides of the football. I would imagine that he'll see way more reps on the offensive side. And if it comes down to being a situational thing, that you can absolutely insert Travis Hunter in on the defensive side to then take place or go in there and help them try to secure a win or get a crucial stop or to be able to change a game by making a play on the football on the defensive side of the ball. But head coach Liam Cohen, he went out there and spoke on the Rich Eisen show, and he pretty much said this: I do think it's possible for Travis Hunter to play both sides. He's committed. He's a committed man, like he's committed to driving, not just himself, but his teammates as well. And I think that his teammates, these guys are challenging him every single day. Like he doesn't get a free pass because he was a second overall pick and he's Travis Hunter. And I think that's the way you should go about your business. Me personally, I'm looking at it as saying, hey, this young fella, he needs to go out there and prove himself. There's a lot of people who've came out and said that they don't believe that Travis Hunter can go and play both sides of the football. Simply because if you're looking at him, hey, you got to go out there and catch the football versus some of the best talent in the world, the best talent in the world on any given Sunday. If you are playing as the wide receiver, you have to take advantage of some of those good cornerbacks you might run into. He plays in the AFC South, so you're going to go against Stingley Jr. Over there with the Houston Texans. You got a couple good defensive backs over there in Indianapolis. And then on their schedule, it's a number of different defensive backs that he's going to have to take advantage of and really, really prove himself to let us all believe that he's very, very capable of being a two-way player. It's something that I honestly want to see. But the question is still going to come. Okay, you're going to catch the ball on the offensive side versus some of the best players in the world. On the defensive side, are you now willing to go ahead and tackle some of these great running backs, some of these great wide receivers, some of these big, great tight ends around the NFL? It's going to be very, very interesting to see if Travis Hunter can go out there and absolutely do this for the sake of him. Can you actually do this? And I think this is one of those things that we're gonna be watching closely, simply because we know that we've heard during his time in in the college world that he never really gets tired. Okay, but those are, again, sometimes on a given week you're playing lesser talent, or and then other weeks you're playing versus some of those greater talents that enter the NFL with you. And I think it's going to be interesting to see, because like I heard a comment, I can't remember the player, but if y'all remember it, go ahead and remind me who it came from. But I remember a player pretty much saying, "Hey, who's going to allow him to go out there and catch the football without trying to, pretty much lay him out in a physical way, within the lines and the rules of the NFL game while he's playing wide receiver? And then who's not going to try to truck him on the defensive side when they see him in the way?" There's many doubters. There are some believers for sure, but there are many doubters as well. Me, I won't put anything past anybody. I think that when you talk about the mentality of said players, it all comes down to the man. You know what I'm saying? What's your mentality going into these type of situations, and how can you handle them, and how do you bounce back when you give up a big play on the defensive side? How do you, calm yourself down after a big, return or yards after the catch, that play that you make, and that that requires a lot of energy, and then you make a big play? Do you immediately come out, or do you move on to the next play? And then if now that touchdown gets you within 3 and you need a stop on the defensive side, does Liam Cohen insert him in on that type of situation and say, all right, we know you just helped us score this touchdown, but it's a 3-point game, we need this game, da 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 da? Can you go out there and have the energy left to go out there and help create a stop for that defense? It's going to be very interesting. We all know we're going to keep y'all plugged in and locked in and continuously talking about it. So y'all let me know how y'all feeling about that. Let's move on up to Cleveland. Cleveland, this is for you. The Cleveland Browns QB curse continues. um is one of those things to where you looked at the situation and, like, hindsight is 2020. So now looking back on it, you're saying, hey, Baker Mayfield, he got us our first playoff win in a lifetime. And they said to hell with Baker Mayfield after kind of a down season of dealing with, of coming back from that shoulder injury and pretty much playing hurt. Say he had the little thing around his arm to help for stability with this throwing arm. And they pretty much said, to hell with you. We won't. Deshaun Watson gave him a fully guaranteed contract at that. And let's just say it has been a disaster, because that's exactly what it's been since, what I'm saying, he came along. It's been a complete disaster for Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. And now you're looking at this season, while Deshaun Watson is still out because he re-injured that Achilles earlier this year. He's expected to miss the 2025 season. So that's one quarterback. And now in the draft, you move on to that. You select 2 quarterbacks. So, and then you pick up Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. So, and now we look at that Dylan Gabriel that is hurt, what I'm saying, with the hamstring. We looking at Kenny Pickett that is hurt with the hamstring. We looking at my man Shador Sanders, who I'm rooting for to see if they actually give him a chance, who's injured with the shoulder injury. What I'm saying that there's some soreness with the shoulder. And then they go out there and sign my man's Huntley. Like Snoop, this is what they call him. They call him Snoop. They say he spent time with the squad in training camp last year, and you bring him on, and Travis Huntley, like, bro. It just continues. The Cleveland Browns can't catch their footing. It's like every time they step off the porch, it's a thin sheet of ice right there, and they just keep slipping. Look, I don't wish injury on anybody. Let's not get it twisted. But I'm just saying, like, at some point, you got to consider yourself cursed, right? Or at least have some type of bad karma when it comes to, now that you technically have 6 quarterbacks around the team. I know one guy's rehabbing and won't be available. That's Deshaun Watson. But then you got 2 young rookies, and they ain't really showing much, or I feel like the opportunities are limited for these quarterbacks, and y'all not really giving them the leeway to see if you can start one of these guys for the foreseeable future. It just doesn't really make sense to me, because I know what Joe Flacco is. I know what Kenny Pickett is. Can Kenny Pickett revitalize his career like some of the quarterbacks in years past? Maybe. But if you're the Cleveland Browns, you have 2 young quarterbacks on your team that should be receiving the bulk of the reps, so you can go into next year's draft and have an idea of what you need, because you have two first round picks and a number of other picks that you can really take advantage on if you hone down on trying to find your starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. Me personally, I'm looking at this right now and just saying, like, y'all are screwing it up again. They screwing it up again. The Cleveland Browns are screwing up their QB situation again because you refuse to give meaningful reps to your two young guys. I understand that you drafted Dilly Gabriel before Shador Sanders, but what about competition? May the best man win. The best man should be going up for the job and having an opportunity to go out there and win. So for me, we just looking at a situation to where you just like, y'all can be completely crapping the bed on this again. Because if you just traded for, well, not just, but Deshaun Watson is out. I would imagine that the expectation is to kind of, just let him fizzle out and then just let him go and then just eat the rest of the money. But if you're not letting these young guys play, you just drafted two of them, you mean to tell me you want to go into 2026 and draft another quarterback? The Cleveland Browns are crapping the bed with their quarterback situation. And I understand that. I like it's Tyler Huntley. Excuse me. Tyler Huntley. He is coming into a situation where we seen him be a backup. We seen him play a number of games. We seen him hold him down. We pretty much know what he is as well. Like, you just keep slapping band-aids on the bleeding wound, but you ain't patch up nothing. You ain't sew nothing closed. You ain't do nothing what is required to try to figure out this quarterback situation. And this is where you are right now as the Cleveland Browns organization. It makes absolutely no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And that's why I'm sitting here saying they might still be cursed. They might still be cursed because you can't constantly make decisions like this. And I don't think Kevin Stefanski is a bad head coach. I definitely think that the front office can go out there and acquire good talent, but you never win games without a quarterback. Can a defense help you get a couple games here and there? Absolutely. Absolutely. But if you want to go to the promised land and take advantage of a good head coach in Kevin Stefanski, you have to find him a quarterback. And you had one in Baker Mayfield, and you let him go. Being too thirsty. The grass ain't always green on the other side. You should have been watering the grass that you got. That's what you should have been doing. You should have been watering the grass that you got, Cleveland. And now this is the situation to where now QB number 6. And that is not even including all the quarterbacks that y'all let go in years past. I remember y'all was throwing up the fella. Oh, I can't remember his name, but the acronyms was DTR or something like that. And they was hyping him up. And he couldn't get the job done either. So I think that this organization needs to be a lot better. And they can only blame themselves. They can only blame themselves. Like, nobody's gonna feel sorry for them, but we definitely gonna keep covering it. That's just what it is. We're definitely going to keep covering them. And this is what it is. This is what it comes down to. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode. Before y'all get up out of here, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for your boy. We on the way to 1K. So go ahead and show some support to the channel, man. We appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all always love football. And y'all already know we're going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.